Peace and love, everyone. It was a beautiful day in the Lone Star State. As you know, I make quite a bit of videos, but these are the type of videos I look forward to making, and that's discussing and breaking down the sweet science of boxing. As a boxing fan, the boxing community has been craving what's getting ready to happen the next 4 or 5 months, and that's the best fighting the best. This will be the first of many videos. Thank you for the people who has requested me to give my intake on these upcoming fights. As you know, I like to give a in-depth, precise, detailed, detailed prediction from start to finish. Not just the round is going to end in the outcome, but how a breakdown, how the whole fight's going to go. Since this is the first fight video, I'm going to kind of give you an overview of how I go about making my prediction. And then moving forward, the next video, I'll just go straight to the prediction. I like to factor in everything. I like to look in the fighter's eyes and get a feel. What do I feel when looking in the fighter's eyes? Are they disciplined? Do they always make weight? What style do they have? What's their demeanor at the press conference? Where they come from, their hardships, how they act when being hurt in a fight. Have they been knocked down? I like to factor everything in. Then what I like to do is I like to get each fighter and look at the pros and cons of each fighter. So with that being said, we have a middleweight clash in 6 days of March 25th between the undefeated David Benavidez, who is 26-0 with 23 knockouts. I keep that 23 knockouts in mind, versus Caleb Plant, who's 22-1 with 13 knockouts. I keep that 13 knockout in mind. So the pros and cons of start with Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant, he's a slick counterpuncher. He's a good boxer. He has good footwork. He has good ring generalship. He's methodical. He's disciplined. And he has a good, straight, left pistol jab. Now, something that can benefit Caleb is his only loss to Canelo Alvarez. It could be something similar. I felt like Canelo Alvarez, one of the best things that happened in his career is his loss to Mayweather. It's like overnight he became a seasoned vet from what he learned from that fight. I learned after that fight he became, he was more patient. He knew when to turn it on and turn it off, and he started breaking his fighters down throughout the fight. With Caleb Plant, is that going to benefit him or hurt him? He had one fight after Canelo. That was against Anthony Durrell. He had a spectacular knockout, which was knockout of the year. But not to take anything from that knockout, but it was against an older Anthony Durrell who was on his way out. But I noticed a few things. As far as the cons in Caleb Plant, I noticed that when Canelo, at the beginning of the fight, it was close and he was taking his time. He started slow, but once he started picking the tempo up, that's when he started touching Caleb Plant and eventually get him out of there, and I believe in the 11th round. I keep that in mind before making my prediction. Two things that I noticed with Caleb Plant, mistakes that he'd make, being a disciplined fighter. He has somewhat of his stance is like somewhat of using the Philly shell and a Mayweather stance. He'll have his left shoulder will be his defense, and his right hand will be protect his right jaw. His left shoulder will protect his left jaw. He will catch a lot of things that come in from his opponent's left hand. He'll catch it. But I noticed something. When he goes to the body, he will drop. He will lunge in, telegraph it, lunge in, drop, stretch out with his left, and drop both hands, leaving his face exposed. I'm keeping that in mind before I make my prediction. Another thing he'll do is when he throws that left jab, and when he throws that check left, when he comes back in defense retreat mode, at times he'll get undisciplined. He'll leave that left side open from dropping his hands, from not keeping his hands up. I'm gonna keep that in mind before I make my prediction. Moving on to the pros and cons of David Benavidez. Benavidez, he has power. He's tall. He has a long reach. He's a dog. He has a killer mentality. He moves forward the whole fight, and he's good at setting traps. As far as the cons, I'm not impressed with his resume. Um, Caleb Plant will be his biggest test. He doesn't have good footwork, and he's not a pure boxer, but he's good at what he does. Something else that can hurt Benavidez in this fight is um, Caleb Plant got in his head in the press conference, talking about him failing the drug test or his out of the ring antics and being undisciplined and not making weight, which got Benavidez hot and wanting to fight in the press conference. He's already let it be known that he despises Caleb Plant. He doesn't like him as a human, and he's going in there to take his head off and knock him out before 6 rounds. If he goes in there hot-headed, mad, angry, trying to take his head off, that can hurt him against a counterpuncher who will punish you for making mistakes. So with that being said, I factor all that in, and what I see is I don't see this as a chess match. Usually, I'm a fan of the art of hit and not get hit. I usually go with the boxer over the brawler or the slugger or someone who wants to fight you in the phone booth. But that'll go two ways. When you have the slick counterpuncher, the pure boxer, versus the high volume move forward power knockout artist, it's gonna go two ways. The counterpuncher is either gonna box his socks off for 12 rounds, or the pressure fighter is gonna wear his opponent out and hurt him in the later rounds. So I think that with that being said, I think there's going to be 4 factors in this fight. One, who maintains their composure after being either hit or hurt, because one big shot can change the whole dynamics of the fight. So in this fight, both fighters will get touched up. So after a fighter gets hurt or hit, are they going to keep their composure and stick to the game plan? 2, battle and nutrition. I don't think this is going to be a knockout fight. I think it's going to go the distance. And so with that being said, the last 3 rounds, who's going to be more tip-top shape? 3, who's going to have more dog and more of the killer in them? And that's going to play a factor in the last 3 rounds. 4, I don't even think it has anything to do with the fighters. I think it has to do with the judges. You never know what judges you're going to get. Are you going to get the judge who likes more of the pressure fighter who moves forward and a high volume of punches? Or are you going to get the judges who likes the more accurate puncher who lands more shots? So with that being said, I think what's going to happen is the first 7 rounds, Caleb Plant will show that he's a better boxer and he will win majority of the first half of the fight. With that being said, it's going to be close, and Benavidez is still going to be moving forward and be touching him up and still be in the fight. Here's what I think a big factor. I don't think Benavidez will respect Caleb Plant's power with only having 13 knockouts, and he will continue to move forward. So with a counterpuncher, is Caleb Plant going to be able? It takes a lot of energy to just stick and move, bob and weave, pick shots off. So with that energy, on top of a pressure fighter come move forward, I think it's going to hurt Caleb Plant in the later rounds. What I think is going to happen is, remember what we talked about when Caleb plans lunges to go to the body, or he'll leave when he throws that check hook, when he comes back in retreat mode for a second, he'll leave that temple exposed. I think in round 8 or round 9, Benavidez is going to hit Caleb Plant with a straight right and touch him on that temple, what's going to change the dynamics of the fight. And instead of Caleb Plant going in there to win, he's going to go in somewhat of a retreat mode and survival mode. And I think the fight's going to be close, but the last 3 rounds, Benavidez is going to smell blood, and that dog's going to come out, and he's going to win those last 3 rounds to steal the fight. I got Benavidez 7 rounds to 5 in an action-packed, good, fan-friendly fight. Anything can happen. Only time will tell. Until next time, peace and love.